Hey guys, so for today's video, I am going to be doing a side-by-side comparison of some of the newest products from Dior. So I have their foundation stick and their contour stick. So I'll be applying those to one half of my face. And then on the other side, I'll be using the Fenty foundation stick and the matchstick in amber. So a little side-by-side comparison for you there. I also have several shades of the new Fenty Gloss Bomb sticks that I'll compare to one of the Dior Addict Shine lipsticks. So if that kind of video sounds good to you, make sure to like and subscribe. And without further ado, let's get into it. So I pulled as many kind of comparable Dior and Fenty products as I could. I don't have a product from each category for both brands, so I'll kind of improvise when it comes to those. But I do have the Dior Forever Glow Star Filter and the Fenty Ease Droplet All Over Glow Enhancer in Pink Pearl. So I'll be doing the Dior products on my right side, so I believe that's your left, and vice versa for the Fenty. So Fenty will be on my left, your right, possibly. It's just to make it easier for me to keep track. So the Dior Forever Glow filter comes with a pump like so. I do have a review dedicated to this product, and compared to the Fenty Ease Droplet Glow Enhancer, these names are way too long. This is a little squeeze bottle. So the Fenty is going to give you a little bit more hydration, but less coverage. So if you want more of like a hydrating primer, the Fenty is going to be the way to go. If you want something that has a little bit more heft to it and a little bit more opacity, then the Dior is going to be your bet. I think the Fenty might also come in a travel size or a smaller size. So if you wanted to, I guess, get a sense of the product, it's probably one of those things. I mean, if you're using it all over as a primer, you might go through it. This one, you get 1.2 fluid ounce, so that's a decent amount of product right there. I'll insert how much product the Dior has, but this is the Dior Star Filter. And full disclosure, I just filmed about 30 minutes of this video before I realized that my mic wasn't plugged in, so I don't know if that will mean this video is better or worse now that I've kind of done half of it once. But if I am unsure of whether I say something, if I repeat myself, if I leave something out, that is likely why. I also have a new camera. I think I figured out most of the kind of settings and everything, so hopefully everything looks good on your end. But if you ever have any suggestions or preferences when it comes to video settings or quality, just let me know. Always happy to get constructive feedback. Okay, so this is the Fenty on this side. And because I did just film this video once immediately before this, I just did my skincare. So I have a nice kind of hydrated and prepped skin, but it's always good, I guess, to get a little bit more prep, especially if you have dry skin like I do. So that is the Dior and that is the Fenty. You can see one definitely has more coverage. It's similar to the Charlotte Tilbury. So if you like that kind of thing, if you just want a little bit of a hydration layer, then you can go with the Fenty. Okay, so under both eyes, I'm going to use the Charlotte Tilbury corrector. I do have the Fenty brightener, but I don't have a similar product for Dior, so I figure I might as well just kind of give both concealers that I will use kind of a fighting chance. Just help to even things out there. So let's talk about the foundation sticks. So they both have fairly similar claims. The Dior, which looks like so, $52 for 0.37 ounces, so it's going to be more expensive, but you do get slightly more product than the Fenty. They say it is a multi-use foundation stick for a natural blurred finish with up to 24 hours of wear and all-day hydration. The Fenty, by contrast, it's $36 for 0.32 ounces. And this is supposed to be a light coverage, long wear tint stick with a creamy smooth texture that instantly blurs while melting into skin for a natural finish. So both have natural finishes. They are, as I've discovered, both very easy to apply. And I did get the lightest shades in both products. So in Dior, that is the shade 00, and in Fenty, that is the shade 1. I chose the Dior shade. It could be a tad light, arguably. We are, I guess, towards the end of summer, although I don't go out much, so I don't get a lot of sunlight. But anyway, one might argue that it is a tad light for me. You can see the Fenty is a little bit more yellow. I think it might have less coverage as well. So quickly, I have the shade 1N from Ilia. I believe this is their lightest shade as well. And the Ilia is going to be much more matte compared to both of those. It doesn't have as much slip to it. Tone-wise, it's maybe a little bit closer to the Dior. So the Dior does have this oval shape to it, which is kind of interesting. Makes it a little bit, I don't know, different to interact with. One thing I noted, which you won't be able to see as easily now because I've used it, but it had a smooth surface. I noticed that the inside of the cap has CD on it. So I don't know if they manufacture it so that the CD is supposed to imprint onto the foundation. The contour, which is very similar packaging but matte, you can kind of see the remnants there of CD, and the CD is in the cap there. So I don't know if that was intentional. One of these products was a bit loose and I had to kind of snap it back into place. I can't recall if it was the contour or the foundation. I'm guessing it might have been the contour, but anyway. Okay, so very easy to glide on. And you can see I do have some blemishes and things to cover. I have freckles and redness. I mentioned in a previous video that I've been kind of playing around with my skincare, and I was trying to cut out any ingredients that could be potentially comedogenic. I think once I did that experiment, and I don't think I wrecked my skin barrier, but definitely had a few kind of peeling dry days. But what I kind of landed on is I think there's a multivitamin that my doctor put me on that has biotin, so I think that might be what's causing it. So like anything else, what you put into your body often shows on the outside of it. So I just put a little bit more down there. So you can see very, very quick and easy to blend. And once I apply the rest of the makeup, we'll see how that goes. But yeah, when I first applied this product, I thought it maybe was too light, or maybe just in comparison to the Fenty, because I think this is a touch sheerer, maybe a touch darker. But yeah, I like to just draw it on, and then I'll take the same brush, I'll just kind of wipe it off on a paper towel and just quickly blend like so. It's a great type of product, just as an everyday kind of going out the door. You just want something that's gonna really blend in really quickly. And it's relatively mess-free as well. So this camera, it has something called product showcase mode, which means if I hold something up to the camera, it's supposed to like focus really quickly. We'll see how I like that in editing, if it's kind of taking it away from my face too much. Okay, so those are the complexion sticks. Going on to concealer. So one of the reasons why I chose this shade of the Dior foundation, I have the shade 00 in the concealer, so I thought it would make sense to pick up the corresponding shade in the foundation. I think this 00 shade was something that they came out with after they reformulated. I don't think the earlier version of this product had this shade. And the earlier shades that I had in that older formulation, I think were kind of too dark. So yeah, that was one thing. And then also there's a YouTuber named Christy Healy, and she reviewed this product, and I think she said that the Fenty foundation stick in 1 was too light for her. So because I do use that shade, I kind of used her as a reference and went 1 shade lighter in the Dior. I think I mentioned the first time around that I do have a 20% off code that I was able to get for the Sephora Friends and Family sale. That's where you have to get someone who works for Sephora to send you an invite, basically. So I thought about maybe picking this up from Sephora during that sale. Let me just quickly swatch these shades. So I'm kind of on the fence about that. I will mention though that I actually have 2 shades of the Fenty concealer. This is their newest hydrating one. This one is 100C and the other one is 125. So by comparison, the Dior is not that different. 125 looks positively peach. But that was the Dior 00, the Fenty 100, and the Fenty 125. I think I'm going to use the Fenty 125 just to, I guess, make that half of the face look kind of consistent with itself. So yeah, I might have to turn off that like product showcase mode. But yeah, anyway, I got a 20% off code. So I think I'm probably gonna pick up some of the new Fenty blushes. I thought about waiting to film this video until I had those, and I would have picked up some of the new Dior blushes as well, blush and highlighter duos. But because the Fenty formula is more of a suede kind of blush to powder, I thought it would be kind of like comparing apples and oranges to a certain extent. I feel like my nose, I might need to grab my beauty blender. My nose, because I'm trying to kind of merge 2 things halfway through my face, it's suffering a little bit. But anyway, I do plan to film kind of a second, like all Fenty video. I kind of wanted to do this dedicated comparison because I've enjoyed the Fenty foundation stick so much, and I've been stalking the Dior website to figure out when this complexion contour stick would launch in the US, because it's gone on a little world tour, and the US was one of its last stops. I think the UK maybe got it just after we did. Okay, so let's talk about the contour. So it does have slightly different packaging, which I do appreciate. It makes it easier to pick up which one you want. And this is in the shade 01 Light. One thing to know with this is it comes in 4 shades. You know, I'm always concerned when a brand says that something is both sculpting and bronzing because you need different tones of products to achieve those types of things. This is Amber from Fenty. And then I also have Soft Amber, which is going to be a little warmer. It seems like when brands do something that's like for super fair people, they usually go in that direction and not something that is truly like cool toned. So to sculpt as a contour, you generally want something that is going to look like a shadow. So it's going to be more of a cool tone. And if you want to bronze, you want that kind of warmth in the product. So what Dior did is shades 1, 3, and 4 are all cool toned contour shades. And shade 2 is, I guess, kind of an all-in-one bronzing shade for everyone, is kind of how they're marketing it. I do appreciate that they had a picture on the Sephora website that explained that. But I think even so, from reviews I've seen, it doesn't seem like that's the most apparent to people. So my preference would have been, I guess, if they had, try and get a smaller amount on the face just by kind of turning it on its side a little bit. And the nature of these shapes does kind of change how you're able to use it a little bit. Yeah, so my preference would have been if they had, I guess, put out 2 different products. One is a contour and one is a bronzing. Yeah, even if they had, I guess, kept the same formula or mostly the same component, I would have been okay with that. Or, I don't know, just make it a little bit more clear that there was like a bronze shade and a contour shade option. So taking the BK101 and blending down the neck and up on the cheekbone. So even though I use this as a contour shade, to the extent there's any warmth in the product, I think it looks a little bit more natural, kind of blended up into the kind of bronzer area. I think the Dior has a little bit more pigment. It's still pretty easy to blend out though. So you can kind of use the products accordingly. So I'm just building up the Fenty just a touch, just to make it a little bit more even. Okay, so before I powder or anything, I'm going to quickly do my brows. And I have some products from Billion Dollar Brows that they were kind enough to send over in PR. I said before, and nothing has really changed, but I'm not a big brow pencil person. Normally I will just use a tinted brow gel. But what I noticed the first time around, because I did get this far, was that it is a nice tone for a blonde shade. I find that in general, a cooler toned brow shade looks more natural, and some blonde shades just end up looking too warm or too yellow. So I like this one. It's a little bit more neutral, I think. So normally I'll go for like a taupe. And I think they do have a taupe option, but I picked this one just because based on the pictures, I thought it was actually going to be the best match for me. I do need to get my hair done. I have an appointment on Saturday that I'm looking forward to. It's been, I think March was the last time, so I'm overdue. And then they sent me this clear brow gel. Has a tiny little cone-shaped wand. I always think of these as like little Christmas trees or something. But yeah, this one, it has a nice level of hold to it. It's still just a clear, which I still use clear, and I'll even combine a clear with a tinted brow gel to give me both the kind of definition and hold. But even if I'm just running errands and I'm not really wearing any makeup, I'll still put a clear brow gel through my brows just to keep them groomed. So yeah, I do like that. I think it has a nice level of hold. So I'll just let that kind of set down. But yeah, I have tried just about every brow gel on the market. I've tried the Rare Beauty one. The Anastasia was my first like introduction into that type of product. So what I'm going to do next, I don't have any of the new Fenty blushes, but I do have one of their cream blushes in the shade Petal Poppin'. And this is a shade that they recycled in the new formula. So I figured might as well try this one out. It's just, you know, kind of a neutral pink. Nothing too crazy. Needing a little warm perhaps. So yeah, so I saw that they have this shade, and they also have Summertime Wine, and I'm trying to think, Drama Class maybe? Is that purple? They kind of repeated some and introduced some new. But like I said, it didn't really make sense to include in this video. Okay, so I think I'm going to pop off camera and do my eyes, and I'll set everything And then I'll come back for highlighter because I do have a Fenty highlighter and I have a Dior highlighter and the lips as well. So I'll do that off camera and I'll be right back. Okay, so we're back. I feel like this wasn't my day to film, but we are persevering. Okay, so what I have on my eyes. So I did use the Fenty eye primer, which is a really good one. I think bought this at least twice now. And then on the eyes, so I actually used the Urban Decay Naked palette. So this is the new 2024 one. I just filmed a video comparing it, swatching it to the 2018 one that I have. I had purchased it in 2010, but I decluttered. So basically I have Naked and Buck, the mattes, and Sidecar. So this little trio here is basically what I did with a little bit of Virgin just underneath the brow bone. But yeah, very, very beautiful makeup look. I do recommend checking out that palette, especially if you no longer have it in your collection or if you never picked it up to begin with. So that is what is on my eyes. I also used the Victoria Beckham eyeliner in the shade Bronze, I believe. Yeah, Bronze. So not the most defining, but very, very pretty color. I wanted to kind of keep it pretty neutral on the eyes. And then I have my go-to combination of the Clinique Bottom Lash Mascara and the Tarte Lights Camera Splashes. So that is what I have on for mascara. And I also powdered with the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush, which I'm very much trying to use up. So I do like it. I'm just trying to get through this compact so I can get to my next one. So that's what I have as far as setting the makeup. And I wanted to try out the Fenty highlighter in Pretty Pearls. I wasn't initially going to get this, but I heard good things. It has a very interesting component to it. So I have this, and then I think on the other side, I have a couple of options. I also had liquid highlighter options from both Fenty and Dior, but I wasn't really wowed by either formula. I have dedicated reviews of those, I believe. So this Dior highlighter, it has that kind of blue reflect to it almost. So I might actually go in with this guy. Maybe I'll kind of combine these two a little bit. So I have my Anastasia A23 brush, and I'm just going to, well, let's look at them side by side. So yeah, this one, so Fenty doesn't have like a true white highlighter, at least in appearance. I'm just gonna kind of go back and forth on the Dior and see what that does. Dior has, as you may know, kind of reformulated a lot of products. So I actually rebought that other Dior highlighter that I showed you because I wasn't sure if they reformulated, and I'd say white highlighters are kind of another area of interest for me, if you will. So contour products, white highlighters, foundation sticks I've taken a new interest in, and like rosy bronzers are things that I always have kind of my eyes peeled for. Okay, so going into Pretty Pearls with the same brush, I just kind of wiped it off. This one does pick up product more easily. I'm not sure if both of these are baked. So very pretty. Let me turn down the lights just a tad. So that's Dior. That's Fenty. I'm feeling they're not that dissimilar. I think maybe we're about there. Technology is not my friend today anyway, and I believe that Mercury is in retrograde, so at least I have something to blame. Anyway, okay, let's go on to the lips, and then we can end out this video. This was the Glow Maximizer, by the way. This one also had that kind of glittery blue reflect almost. The white liquid highlighter from Fenty leans a little bit more yellow gold in undertone. Okay, so I have a Dior Addict lipstick. This one is in the shade Dior Mania. So I picked out one that I thought might look like one of the Fenty's, and I haven't swatched this yet, so you can see the CD in there. So for the Fenty, and again, I think I'll do a dedicated Fenty video where we'll do some comparisons between these and their kind of corresponding Gloss Boss is that what they're called? Gloss Bomb? These guys. This might be a travel size, but anyway. Okay, so really do like this Fenty component. I like that you can very obviously see what the color of the shade is. I got 4 shades in total. So you can see the shade difference there. And I'm thinking this one is Riri, which obviously is named after Rihanna. So this one also has the FB in there, and it's just a snap closure. The Dior, again, it's a snap closure as well. But one of the fun things about this product is that you can kind of customize your cases. So I just picked up one case from their kind of latest limited edition collection because it has like the map of Paris on it. So I thought that was really cool. And you would just take this and pop it in just like so. So kind of a cool feature there. I think Rihanna's previous kind of lipstick launch, they had a weird system where it was like refillable, but you didn't automatically get a case. You can just buy refills of the Dior lipstick as well, but I don't think it was necessarily obvious on the listing or whatever. Okay, so this is the shade Dior Mania, I believe I said. So kind of a neutral mauve tone. And I'll swatch it next to Riri. I think this might be one of the closest. A lot more pigment on that one, actually. So that was Riri Hibiscus, which I think is going to be too pink. The Rihanna ones look like they're going to have a little bit more kind of heft to them. Let's see. The other two that I got are Is It Fussy? So that's one of the shades of the Gloss Bomb. That one might be closer. I'll put that one to the side. And then the last one here is Fenty Glow. So kind of the quintessential shade here. I'm gonna go with Is It Fussy? Like Fenty Glow is close, but it's a little bit more warm leaning, a little less mauve-y. So none of these are going to be dead on dupes. So the Fenty, yeah, I'm not in love with the smell of these. So this will be on the left side. Very pretty. I just wish they had maybe not included the scent. I could have done without that. Let's see how the Dior smells. It's much more subtle. And I did pick up one of the Fenty pencils as well. So yeah, color is not going to be a match. I think for scent alone, I would prefer the Dior. I guess you could argue that the Dior is more luxurious, but I do like the Fenty packaging. Like I said, I like that you can easily see the color. The geometric shapes they have fun with, you know, is kind of whatever, but that's one of my main things. And I think color-wise, and it looks really pretty on the lips, I'm just not a huge fan of the scent, especially being as kind of overpowering as it is. So one more quick look. So this is the Dior side. And that is the Fenty side. So let me know if you guys prefer one over the other. I tried to kind of give you my thoughts as we went along in terms of what I thought the pros and cons were, or just to give you the information you need based on your preferences, which product do you think would work out best for you. But I think the key takeaway here is that you don't need to pay kind of designer makeup prices to get like a designer makeup look. I think there is something to be said for like luxurious packaging and just the feeling you have when you apply makeup. Obviously, when you leave your house, no one's going to know what makeup you used. But yeah, I think there is something to be said just for kind of the element of self-care and just the experience of doing your makeup. But that being said, I don't think there's anything so inherently luxurious about the Dior that you're missing out on the Fenty. So if you have the Fenty products and you were wondering whether you should spring for the Dior or vice versa, if you have the Dior and you're wondering whether you might save some money by going to Fenty, I hope I gave you the information that you need. And if you have any questions, please leave those down below. I hope you guys are all doing well and staying safe, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.